Good evening, everyone, and Assalamu alaikum. To start this auspicious occasion, I would like to introduce you to the Maulvi Sahab who has been working at the mosque at Abdullah Shah Ghazi Mazar. He has been associated for the last 36 years with Sehgal family. It is an honor to have him here with us. He just retired in June 2026. Please welcome Muhammad Miskeen Naqshbandi Sahab for the Tilawat-e-Quran Pak.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم وأموالهم بأن لهم الجنة يقاتلون في سبيل الله فيقتلون ويقتلون وعدا عليه حقا في التوراة والإنجيل والقرآن ومن أوفى بعهده من الله فاستبشروا ببيعكم الذي بايعتم به وذلك هو الفوز العظيم. अल्लाह जल्ले जलालुहू ने कुरान में इरशाद फरमाया, जो लोग हमारे रास्ते में शहीद हो जाएं, इंतकाल कर जाएं, उनको मुर्दा ना कहो बल्कि वो जिंदा हैं और अल्लाह के यहाँ जिंदा हैं, आप उसका शऊर नहीं रखते। और इरशाद फरमाया, बेशक अल्लाह ने ईमान वालों से इनकी जानें और उनके माल खरीद लिए हैं, इस बदले में कि उनके लिए जन्नत है, वो अल्लाह की राह में जद्दोजहद करते हैं, फिर वो मुकाबला करते हैं और ख़ुद भी कुर्बानियाँ पेश करते हैं। ये अल्लाह का वादा है तौरात में, बाइबल में और कुरान में। और अल्लाह से बढ़कर अपने वादे को पूरा करने वाला कौन है? बस इस सौदे पर खुश हो जाओ, तुमने अल्लाह से किया है ये वादा और यही बहुत बड़ी कामयाबी है। अल्लाह ताला हम सबको अमल की तौफीक अता फरमाए। मोहतरमा ने बड़ी प्यारी एक बात कही मेरा तारुफ कराते हुए, गरचे मैं अंग्रेज़ी सही तरह नहीं समझता, लेकिन बड़ी अच्छी एक 36 साल का ताल्लुक़ बताया। तो मैं ये चंद सेकंड आप हज़रात की ज़्यादा लेना मुनासिब समझता हूँ कि हज़रत इकराम सहगल साहब से मेरा 1990 से पहले से ताल्लुक़ है। जामा मस्जिद अब्दुल्ला शाह गाजी में इनका आना, इनकी 2-3 बातें मैं अर्ज़ कर दूं कि एक तो अपने वालिदैन से बेइंतहा मोहब्बत, चूँकि इनके वालिदैन को अल्लाह ने ये सआदत बख्शी है कि मुक़द्दस इस पूरे पाकिस्तान का सबसे बड़े बुज़ुर्ग हस्ती आले रसूल अहले बैत का शहज़ादा हज़रत इमाम नफ्स ज़किया रहमहुल्लाह का बेटा और इमाम हसन हुसैन का पोता और नवासा, तो बड़ी हस्ती जो पाकिस्तान में वाहिद सबसे मुक़द्दस है वो सैयदना अब्दुल्ला शाह गाजी है। तो उस मुक़द्दस मज़ार के इहाते में इनके वालिदैन जो है मदफून है, वहाँ उनकी तदफीन हुई है। तो वहाँ इनका अक्सर जुमे के दिन, ईदैन के मौके पर इनका आना रहता है। तो वालिदैन से ये मोहब्बत बड़ी अजीब है, अल्लाह हम सबको भी नसीब फरमाए। दूसरी बात यह है कि मैंने हज़रत अक़दस शेख ताजुद्दीन साहब दामद बरकातुहुम और मुफ्ती रशीद साहब रहिमहुल्लाह लुधियाना वाले, उनकी सोबत उठाई है और उन्होंने एक सख्ती से हमें घूल कर एक बात पिला दी जो हमारी रग रग में बस गई है कि सवाल नहीं करना। सवाल नहीं करना। तो मेरी ज़िंदगी में बड़े हालात आए, बड़े वज़ीर आज़म, सदर मुमलिकत और गवर्नर हजरात और दीगर उमरा हजरात मज़ार पर तशरीफ़ लाते हैं, दुआ में ही कराता हूँ, लेकिन आज तक अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैंने किसी से सवाल नहीं किया, न कोई कह सकता है। लेकिन इकराम सहगल साहब के लिए मैंने स्पेशल अपने बुजुर्गों से पूछा, बोला हाँ ये वो हस्ती है कि जिनसे सवाल करना आपके लिए जायज़ है। तो मैंने ज़िंदगी भर जब भी कुछ मांगा इन्हीं से मांगा। तो अल्लाह ताला इन्हें कबूल फरमाए। दुखी इंसानियत के खादिम हैं, दुखी इंसानियत की खिदमत करते हैं। अपने जो स्टाफ है इनका, अपने जो मुलाजिमीन है, इनके साथ जो रवैया है वो आप हज़रात में से सबको ये चैलेंज है कि वो उनसे मालूम करें कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह उनकी जब बीमारी होती है या घर में शादी हो, गमी हो, खुशी हो, उसमें इकराम सहगल साहब काम आते हैं। अल्लाह ताला इनकी उम्र में, इनके अमल में बरकत अता फरमाए और अल्लाह ताला इनको औलाद की खुशियाँ अता फरमाए। आप सबको भी अल्लाह ताला बहुत ही जज़ाए खैर अता फरमाए। व आखिर दावाना अनिल हम्दुलिल्लाह।
Shukriya. Please rise for the national anthem of Pakistan. It is my distinct privilege to introduce you to the first speaker. She is a distinguished scholar, an inspiring leader, and a role model for countless young women aspiring to break barriers in academia, public policy, and national discourse. She has more than 3 decades of experience as an international relations scholar, political analyst, educator, and certified corporate trainer. A prolific author, she has 3 books to her credit, and a 4th one is coming up. She has contributed 30 plus research articles to national and international journals. She contributes extensively to electronic and print media. It is therefore most fitting that she guide us through the launch of a book that seeks to redefine Pakistan's understanding of national security, a subject that demands wisdom, balance, and strategic insight. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming the Vice Chairperson of the Karachi Council on Foreign Relations and the Rector of Millennium Institute of Technology and Entrepreneurship, Karachi, Dr. Professor Huma Baqai.
Thank you for a very, very kind introduction. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I do a lot of public speaking. But today I'm nervous because I have not seen an august gathering like this. I'm seeing this after a very long time. So many good people under one roof. So thank you all for coming. So I'm delighted to be speaking on Ikram Sehgal Saab's authorship yet once again. Ikram Sehgal does it again. We will be celebrating his 80th birthday, mashallah, tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ikram Sehgal Saab. But there's something else that you don't know. Today is his dad's birthday. And it's Lieutenant Colonel Abdul Majid Saab. He's passed away. I was just having a conversation with Ikram Sehgal Saab a minute before the ceremony, and he shared this with me. And he said, I wanted to do it today to honor him because he suffered a lot because of me. And, you know, a lot of people know that Ikram Sehgal Saab was also called the Ghaddar, and the father had to pay a price for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in his honor. So this time, it is National Security Strategy 2002-2026, sitting on more than 1,100 pages and 31 chapters. It's a heavy book, and this is huge. The book begins with gratitude to all his loved ones sitting in this third row and the first row. And Zarar is here with us. But above all, he thanks Allah. And it is followed by acknowledgement that are full of humility, care, sensitivity, and consideration. A warm thank you to those who most of us forget to mention. I know some of them personally, and I know that acknowledgement made their day, but they had no sense of entitlement. But Ikram remembers people. That's who he is. The book also has a very warm dedication, a shift from two-liners to the Sharif family. He's our chief guest today. I'm not going to say anything about it. You have to read it, because it gives you the insight on what the military is, who are these people, and how they sacrifice loved ones, one after the other, and continue to stand tall for this country. The country's defense has become impenetrable because of them, and May 25th, it was proven beyond shadow of doubt. I've known Ikram Sehgal Saab for nearly 20 years now, and I've always respected him for his great intellect, but more so for consistency of purpose. This is why writing the foreword of the book was an immense pleasure and an honor. You have to read what the foreword says. I picked up what he says about me because I loved it. His comment about it actually made my day. He says that I'm hoping one day this country will recognize her merit, that's me, and make her the foreign minister of Pakistan. Yes. Now, Ikram Sehgal Saab, if your book, this strategy is adopted, I will become the foreign minister of Pakistan. Until then, I'm happy being your multiplier. The period 2002-2026 is one of the most consequential in Pakistan's history. It was marked by profound transformation. Pakistan shifted from being a frontline state in the war on terror to aspiring to become geo-economic connector and a zipper state. It was a major, major paradigm shift. It was also about a lot of military-led governance to repeated democratic transitions, wanting rapid growth to handling recurring economic slowdowns. And that is to date. But what is being very, very emphatically put forward is that geography is also an economic opportunity. It's time Pakistan realized that. Iran has, the war is on Hormuz, about Hormuz, everybody wants to turn it into an ATM. The war begins from the development of national security concept by Sehgal Saab in his first ever lecture at NDC. which later, of course, became NDU in 2002, and he carries that investigation into 2026, where we stand today. This is an extremely ambitious work, reflecting the author's conviction. He declares that the strategy is not a collection of ambitions and slogans, but discusses an important point of what Pakistan wants, what instruments and resources Pakistan possesses or can realistically develop, and how those instruments can be used to achieve clearly prioritized national objectives. It is solution-oriented. As a nation, we are very good at the blame game and at pointing out what's wrong. Very few people come up with solutions. The book resonates with me personally because it is people-centric. It is about national security, but it is people-centric. My PhD focused on non-traditional sources of conflict in South Asia, and my first chapter was state-society relations. Ikram's focus on Pakistan's dysfunctional state-society relations is particularly insightful. This is clearly evident in his declaration that 26 million children out of school constitutes a national emergency. We still continue to allocate the least to education. That continues to be the dilemma of Pakistan. The book also, of course, includes issues like food security, climate resilience, water, energy, population growth, inequality, education, so on and so forth. A lot of security issues that do not become a part of our day-to-day and drawing room conversations. But that is real security, ladies and gentlemen. Ikram is a success story from Pakistan. He himself says it. I became zero. I heard that myself. To who he is today. A force to reckon with, providing security to Pakistan and constantly thinking about the security of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, I have so much to say, but because I'm going to conduct this ceremony, I'm going to confine myself to my time so that I can ask all the speakers to do the same. There are two books that are talked about constantly. One is How Nations Fail, which explains why nations prosper, and the rise and fall of nations explains why they stagnate. These chronicles explain how a developing state can build national strength through an integrated strategy of governance, security, and economic resilience. Security should always be evaluated through prosperity, opportunity, justice, participation, and social confidence. We neither have equality nor equity. This is more than a book on national strategy, it is a theory of national development. The book advances a comprehensive framework for building resilient and prosperous states in the 21st century. It is also future-looking. Pakistan has spent decades reacting to one crisis after another. The greatest contribution of this book is that it forces us to think beyond today's headlines. The conversations should be around scale and milestones. That is something we don't do. What kind of Pakistan are we trying to build over the next 25 years? Strategy is not about reacting. It's about anticipating. The fire brigade, the push it under the carpet, and the Band-Aid approaches have to go. It's time to replace reactive crisis management with proactive strategic planning. This is exactly what Ikram Sehgal is saying. Nations that only react to crisis rarely shape history. They merely survive it. Pakistan has shaped history. It has the potential to shape it again, not just in South Asia, but also in West Asia. The book also extensively emphasizes on prioritizing economic prosperity as our security policy. your sovereignty will always remain compromised unless you have economic security. We need of more formal national security architecture. The fact that we're still talking about it and we've just come out with a document, but there's no implementation, so to say. Strategy should emerge through consultation and consensus rather than dictation. If I may quote the author, he says, "Too often, after a crisis was ongoing, it was clear that there had been little prior coordination or integration of policy instruments." And that is our dilemma, ladies and gentlemen. It is my profound honor now to invite the next speaker. It is Ambassador Masood Akhter, held with a lot of respect all over Pakistan, needs no introduction, has a distinguished diplomatic career representing Pakistan with distinction and contributing significantly to our foreign policy discourse. Ambassador Masood Akhter sahab, please, tashrif laiye.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable panelists, guests, Ikram Sehgal Sahab and family, elders, colleagues, friends, public school boys. I am a Topian and a Sargodian, Echisonians, Gallians. And I think the problem is we may have erred somewhere. Air marshals are anyways less known. So there can be also, that's not a problem. That's not a difficulty. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Huma Baqai has dealt at length with the book. I will not go into the details because myself and Ikram Sehgal Sahab have talked about these things over and over again. First of all, I feel absolutely humbled by what Ikram Sehgal Sahab has said about me in the book. And when we called him in 2002, please do believe, there was no national security policy being written in Pakistan. One. Two, there was not even a single format available. How do we process national security? How do we put together the nuts and bolts of national security policy? And one day the commandant called me and he said, "Masood, come, we have found one format." And there was one senior officer from the army who had gone to army war course in America. And he brought back the folder of that about national security, and Ambassador Blackwell, who was the ambassador, who was from America, he wrote that format. So I was delighted, absolutely, so I brought that back. But there was one more DS with me who was more keen than me. I was the chief instructor at that time. And he borrowed that book from me and he tore the page off and he walked away with it. The commandant was furious that the only format that we ever got has gone amiss. I was so embarrassed. But then, of course, I got, at that time, Google was not there. Internet wasn't very good. But I worked day in and day out, and I found the format. And I took a printout and went to the commandant, and he was delighted. He said, "You have just saved your neck." And so we started to work on it. So what Ikram Sehgal Sahab says is true. No national security policy, no national security strategy, and I will talk later about it, that this is the job of the government of Pakistan. There is a national security division under them, and at least a national security committee working of the cabinet which is working. There was only one document that ever came, and that was when Imran Khan was the Prime Minister, Mueed Yusuf, and I will talk about what happened. The good news, sir, is that what you left behind survives. It also has been built upon. And it gave me pleasure when I saw that they are defining policy as a course or a long-term direction. They define national interest, what you told us, continuing ends for which a nation exists. They define identity as who we were yesterday, what we wish to be today and what we wish to be tomorrow, and how do we do it. And then the strategy is that national interests have to be executed by all institutions and ministries, and how do they do it? So that's the good news. Not so good news is that it is there on paper, and but it's not becoming the belief of the graduates. And there is the taste is in eating the pudding. When I see my colleagues, when I see my friends, my students and my fellow DSs on television, not one person is able to tell us for national interests of Pakistan. We are talking of tactics, we are talking of operational strategy, and believe me, one reason is that Armed Forces War Course, Ali Kuli Khatak Sahib is here, and one day we were discussing in veterans, and he allows me many liberties in the group. And I said, sir, the day you people decided कि आपने सारे जर्नैल बनाने हैं war course से, the die was cast. Today, the two courses have been put together, but it is still operational strategy heavy. So the net result is we are a little poorer, and the country is not doing very well. And where is the problem? Ikram Sehgal Sahab said, identity theek honi chahiye. Who we are as a nation. If we become an ideological state, which our founders, not founders, but the people who put together the constitution, they decided we are going to be an ideological state. मैं लोटोपा में होता था, and we used to read Naseem Hijazi, and Naseem Hijazi said कि एक मुसलमान 10 हिंदुओं के बराबर है, and we believed in that, and so we became an ideological state. This is what the objective resolution tells us, and finally. An ideological state cannot be a democracy because उसमें सारे लोग आपस में मज़ाहिब बात नहीं करते. Like when we go to England, all religions are talking to one another. All groups are talking to one another. And they go to the parliament, they debate everything. They say, okay, law 1, 2, 3, 4 conventions. This is how we will run the country. In Pakistan, this doesn't happen. And because we are doing this, what is the symptom? 2 events took place within the last 1 week. One in America, one in Pakistan. Pakistan one happened only 3 days back. Maulana Fazlur Rahman Sahab, worthy of respect, he said something about the Shahids, which is simply not acceptable to any one of us. Leave alone the public, leave alone the military people. You cannot target Shahids. But please understand, he is the #1 ideologue in this country. You will not be able to touch him. And that is why his lieutenants say, so what, we have said that. Exactly like somebody said, Jaz khareed liya to khareed liya. So he says, this is it. So things are not good. The second incident that took place was in America. Apna, jo unki medical association hai, there MiTE Yusuf, he made a statement to somebody, because he put together the first ever national security policy and strategy by the government of Pakistan. And I am somehow connected to it, because when we were there in Veterans of Pakistan, we took some initiative, and we ended up in the Prime Minister's, not house, but Punjab House, and ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif ko we presented a national security policy. So एक Air Chief ने कहा मुझे, wonderful person, he said, Masood, can you talk to MiTE Yusuf Sahab, because he says I don't know where to start from. I'm telling you this is what happened. So I gave him a call. He also called me. So I went to him. I said, Dr. Sahab, 2 चीजें आपने जरूर करनी है. Number 1, there are over 24 groups, linguistic, sectarian, religious, provincial, ethnic. We are fighting with one another. And please give a guidance as to how we are going to get these groups together. Zero guidance. And then I said, how do we win these 2 insurgencies? This guidance very clearly deni hai aapne. Jab unhone issue kar di, government dissolve hogi, so I called him up, he won't reply. Only today I was talking to his overall, jo sabse senior most secretary tha. Unhone kaha, sir, aap kya baat karte hain? People won't let us do anything. People won't let us touch the, what Ikram Sehgal Sahab says, identity of Pakistan. If you get the identity wrong, नीचे, and यकीन करें आर्मी ये बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाती है in the NDU. Clausewitz, he says, war is an extension of policy, and by that corollary, peace is also an extension of policy. Policy गलत हो गई, नीचे सब गलत हो जाएगा. And so they said, don't touch the identity of Pakistan. So Fazlur Rahman, untouchable. Jamaat-e-Islami, untouchable. You remember one of the heads, he said they are not shaheeds. Inka janaza bhi jaiz nahi. How dare they say that? And believe me, today when all these things happen, there are incidents that we cannot even talk about. But please understand, morality इस मुल्क में किसके पास है? लेफ्टिनेंट के पास और जवान के पास जो शहादतें दे रहे हैं. And believe me, मेरी बात होती है मेरे colleagues के साथ, veterans के साथ. And I say today's generals, they train as good lieutenants and as good jawans. But why are they giving shahadat left, right and center? अगर हम ideological state होंगे, so there will be friction, and the friction will boil over. East Pakistan, 71 happened. Today in KPK, in Balochistan, and of course Kashmir boiling over. So, like Dr. Huma Baqai said, the aim is not to blame one another. Aim is to find answers. I will leave with 2-3 important questions for especially Khaqan Abbasi Sahab and General Raheel Sharif. Number one, इस आइडियोलॉजिकल स्टेट को अगर एक प्रॉब्लम है तो इसको हाउ द हेल डू वी टर्न इट अराउंड? फजलुर रहमान को तो आप नहीं टच कर सकते. नंबर 2, आई वेंट टू घोड़ा गली एंड उसमें विंग कमांडर मिडिल कोर्ट की तस्वीर लगी थी बहुत बड़ी, बिकॉज ही इज अ गैलियन. आर्टिकल 5 ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव रेजोल्यूशन सेज ही इज अ नंबर 2 सिटीजन. आर्टिकल 5 सेज फॉर अस मुस्लिम्स enabling environment shall be created. For middle court and Cecil Chaudhry sir, the statement is only adequate arrangement shall be made. और word freely था, ज़ियाउल हक ने word freely निकाल दिया. वो बड़ी मुश्किल से reinstate हुआ. And lastly, NDU is not supposed to produce national security policy. NDU, but obviously General Raheel Sharif जब थे, जो army chiefs हैं, NDU is under them. NDU is supposed to produce the belief, but final national security policy is to be produced by National Security Division in the under the government. Why they have not produced one, and why are they not producing today? And the only one that they produce, Mueed Yusuf says, Pakistan is a luxury car with a broken engine. So I ask a question: is that engine to be repaired? Or do we remove the engine and put a new engine? And how the hell do we do that? It's going to be a very tall order. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am humbled at what Ikram Sehgal Sahab, इन्होंने मेरी तस्वीरें भी छापी. Brigadier Mahmood is an elder and he felt envious. He said, ज़बरदस्त तस्वीरें. But thank you very much, sir. We did that because we did not have ideas. You have left behind ideas. The good news is those ideas are still there. They are being worked upon. But like the secretary, National Security Division today told me, he said, sir, they said, don't touch the identity of Pakistan. Till we do that, I think we are for a little rough ride. Thank you.
So thank you, Air Marshal retired Masood Akhter Sahab. I thought I'll do that. I stand corrected. पाकिस्तान से बड़ा तो कोई भी नहीं है सर. टच और ना टच करने का तो सवाल ही नहीं. And now it is my profound honor to invite a very good friend to come and speak to us. The name is Miss Gulmina Bilal. I've known Gulmina Bilal again for 20 plus years. अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि मेरे सामने बड़ी हुई है तो गलत नहीं होगा. But what makes me very proud is that she became the first woman to lead Pakistan's premier skill development institute, and she turned it around. But the sad part is that she had to resign. Gulmina, the floor is yours.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitwanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Thank you so much, Huma. If you keep telling people कि इतने सालों से आप जानते हैं, people might think that you're old. You certainly don't look it. Let me, at the onset, acknowledge the absolute august gathering here at the panel, as well as here in the audience. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak for hopefully a very brief time. I must say that I was very, very excited when I heard that I got the chance to speak at today's book launch. And Sehgal Sahab ko, I communicated my excitement also. Until I saw the book, until I weighed the book. And I wasn't sure if Sehgal Sahab was launching a book or another one of his national institutes. So I was a little confused कि ये किताब की रहनुमाई है या एक और इदारे की है. And like any desperate, sensible speaker, because there was no way that I was able to read the book in 2 days. So like any sensible speaker who is in a state of panic, I read the table of contents. And I am so happy that I started with the table of contents. Because those table of contents actually revealed what the core idea of the book is. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is not about defense, not about national security. It's not. This book is about the national core. It starts off, like such books do, with defense, with the armed forces, with hybrid warfare, with cybersecurity, with UAVs, so all of that. And then comes the core part. It starts talking about food security. It starts talking about water scarcity. It starts talking about climate resilience, about taxation, about finance, about investment, about crypto, and my personal favorite, about education security. So this book actually screams out. It doesn't shout. It screams at deafening pitch what today's reality is. And the reality is that while the borders are the first defense, the core, the heart, the strength lies in its people. And my personal favorite, Sehgal Sahab, and thank you, you actually write down in black and white what I feel is one of our main banes, and that is technical vocational education and training, TVET, needs to be mainstreamed, needs to be modernized, industrial pathways with international certification has to be linked up. So thank you, Sehgal Sahab, for writing this, for saying this. In terms of education, Dr. Sahiba also mentioned, Sehgal Sahab also has written that there is an emergency with 26 million Pakistani children out of school, जिसका मतलब है कि वो वादा जो कि रियासत ने उन बच्चों से किया है तालीम का, वो वादा खिलाफी हो रही है. As I speak and I stand before you, there is a national emergency on education, but itni koi emergency nahi hai, we're a little relaxed. Achha, by the way, I think this is the third time that we've imposed the national emergency, but let's not talk about that. So this book is about people, and I'm so glad that a person like Mr. Sehgal has highlighted the importance of investing in people. So for every child that we educate, for every young person that we skill, for every middle-aged person that we upskill for every entrepreneur that we invest in. By the way, जो एक तालीम, बच्चों की तालीम से लेकर entrepreneurship तक, ये वो ideas हैं जो कि सहगल साहब personally supervise करते हैं. So in addition to writing about it, he also implements it. So this is the path forward. There are a few recommendations that I would respectfully say, if you would allow me, Sehgal Saab, that I slightly disagree. But of course, that makes for interesting conversation. Of course, this is Sehgal Saab's 16th book. So Sehgal Saab, aap, in terms of your author's life, you are now sweet 16. You might be turning 80 tomorrow, but you are now, today you are sweet 16, Sehgal Saab. And I am desperately waiting for the launch of his 40th book, because then Sehgal Saab will get naughty at 40. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for keeping time. So this was Gulmina. I was expecting this, not surprised. और जो बात मेरा दिल चाह रहा है कहने का, क्योंकि तालीम से ताल्लुक़ है, जो बच्चे स्कूल से बाहर हैं वो तो एक कहानी है, जो बच्चे स्कूलों में हैं उनके साथ क्या हो रहा है, इस पर भी बहुत बड़ा सवाल है. और क्योंकि मैं पब्लिक सेक्टर में रही बहुत अरसा और अब प्राइवेट सेक्टर में हूँ, तो जो प्राइवेट सेक्टर जो आपको बचा रहा है, आपके बच्चों को पढ़ा रहा है, जो पैसा लगा रहा है और चला रहा है, उस सेक्टर को इतना तंग करते हैं हमारे रेगुलेटर्स. We are actually shouldering a huge responsibility. And this I'm saying after spending 25 years in the public sector. And now I'm sitting in the private sector. So that was just a thought. Sorry for taking the time. Now I'm going to invite somebody from the public sector. Dr. Salma Malik. She's a professor at Quaid-i-Azam University, has speciality in defense and strategic studies. Again, a very good friend. Salma, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Huma. Let me just, okay. Distinguished guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and above all, the man of the hour, Mr. Ikram Sehgal. A book launch is usually about a book. But when the author is Ikram Sehgal, the launch becomes something much more. It becomes a celebration of a life lived in full service to an idea, and that idea is Pakistan. Before I come to the substance of this book, it is only befitting to understand the spirit that led to this labor of love, something that the speakers before me, Madam Huma, has also pointed out. The man himself, Ikram Sehgal, is in the truest sense a son of Pakistan. And I mean that quite literally. Born of a Bengali mother and a Punjabi father, he carries within him the founding promise of this nation, that Pakistan was never meant to be a country of one region, one language, or one people, but a federation of shared purposes. His very lineage is a reminder of what we were meant to be, something that Air Marshal Masood has also pointed towards, and what we must never forget, that we can still become. He began his journey in uniform as a military aviator and a soldier, and that association with the Pakistan Army has never left him. He does not wear the khaki anymore, but you can never take the forge out of him. From the cockpit, he moved into the world of enterprise, and there too he excelled. Today he heads the Pathfinder Group, a name that is itself a metaphor for the man. A pathfinder is the one who goes ahead, who charts the route for others to follow. His group works across security, fintech, innovation, entrepreneurship, education, corporate social responsibility aspects, and leadership. Precisely the domains that will define whether nations thrive or fall behind in the 21st century. Consider his intellectual contribution as a citizen of Pakistan. As owner-in-chief editor of the Defense Journal, he has for decades provided this country a platform for strategic thought. Many novices, such as myself, earned their first recognition through the Defense Journal, often when serious thought is the first casualty of noise. He has already authored 17 books earlier. We are talking about these 15, the naughty 16, and the other 2 that have been published by the Oxford University. His writing appears across our print and electronic media with consistency that speaks not of vanity, but of conviction. Here is a man who genuinely believes that ideas matter and that a nation that stops thinking about itself will soon be thought about by others. And then there is Davos. For 23 consecutive years, Ikram Sehgal has hosted the Pakistan Pavilion at the World Economic Forum. 23 years. In a world that too often reduces Pakistan to a headline of crisis. He has quietly and persistently offered a different narrative, a stage where our political and military leadership and our finest citizens from the corporate world could speak to the globe in their homegrown Pakistani voice. That is not merely networking. That is a national service conducted on the global stage at Ikram Sehgal's own initiative, year after year after year. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who did not wait to be asked to serve his country. He simply did. Now the book. Let me now come to the National Security Strategy 2002-2026, a personal chronicle of Pakistan, his 16th in this series. The subtitles are important. Note that it says it is a personal chronicle. This is not a dry academic treatise handed down from an ivory tower. It is a chronicle, the witnessing by a man who did not merely observe Pakistan's journey across quarter of a century, but lived it, engaged with it, and in his own way helped shape it. What makes this book significant, and what I hope every reader will grasp, is its central and correct premise that national security is not a military matter alone. What makes, for too long, in too many places, national security has been imagined narrowly as a question of borders, weapons, and armies. Ikram Sehgal widens the scope, perhaps because he has seen it from different angles, from the cockpit, from the boardroom, from the editorial desk, as an educational patron, and from the world stage. Therefore, his book treats national security as it truly is, a fabric woven from many threads. One thread, foreign policy, how we position ourselves in a world of shifting powers. Another, the economy and finance, because no nation is secure if it is not solvent. A weak economy is weak defense. Education, because the ultimate security of a nation lies in the minds of its young people. Defense, the traditional pillar, treated here with the authority of a man who wore the uniform. More critically, this book does not stop at yesterday's concerns. It reaches forward to the challenges that will define our tomorrow. Emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, cyber capability, quantum mechanics, the digital battle space, climate change. Perhaps the single greatest long-term threat to a nation whose water, agriculture, and coastlines all stand vulnerable. Therefore, he blends traditional and non-traditional security into this fabric of nation building. This is the vision of security we urgently need, a comprehensive and an integrated vision, a vision that understands that a child denied education, a hungry mouth, a flooded belly, a hollowed out economy, and a cyber attack are all in their own ways national security threats. Why this book matters for Pakistan's future? Why this matters? Not just as a document of the past, but as a compass for the future. Every serious nation possesses a national security doctrine, a shared understanding of who it is, what threatens it, and how it intends to secure its future. It is one of the enduring challenges of our national life that such thinking has too often lived in fragments, in individual ministries, in separate silos, in the heads of individuals rather than a coherent national conversation. What Sehgal Sahab has done with this book is to offer us a starting point for that conversation. He has given us a chronicle that connects the dots, that shows how foreign policy, economy, education, defense, food, technology, and climate are not separate files, but a single interlocking whole. For our young people, and especially for the students, the scholars, and the future policy makers in this room and beyond, this book is a gift. It offers them the accumulated judgment of a man who has spent a lifetime thinking about Pakistan so that they need not start from zero. It says to them, here is what I have seen, here is what I have learned. Now carry it forward and do better. That ultimately is the mark of true patriotism, not the desire to be remembered, but the desire to be useful to those who come after. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we speak today of a man who leaves footprints in history. Ikram Sehgal is such a person. The aviator who became an author, the businessman who became a bridge to the world, the soldier whose name still lives in the ranks of his old unit. Ikram Sehgal Sahab, this book is your labor of love, and it shows. You have given Pakistan yet another gift. Thank you for that. Perhaps your most enduring one. May it be widely read, deeply debated, and faithfully acted upon. I would be remiss if I do not acknowledge the illustrious team, indeed the clan members of Pathfinders and beyond, whose invaluable contributions have been recognized in this volume. To Ikram Sehgal Sahab and his team, I offer my warmest congratulations on this book and on a life that has genuinely mattered to this country. May Pakistan be blessed with more citizens who love it as he does. Pakistan Zindabad. Thank you.
Thank you, Salma. That was so nicely put. I must congratulate you on the gender balance amongst the speakers. Usually you only hear the men. Anyways, I'm now going to invite Brigadier Mujahid Alam, who's the CEO of Providencia. He also has a very illustrious career in the military. He's also worked with the United Nations peacekeeping forces, so on and so forth. But you need to understand where this people-centric approach in the book comes from. It comes from the fact that he's the CEO of the Sehgal family's initiative on enhanced harmony, overseeing education, interfaith harmony, and social welfare initiatives through Providencia Food Books Foundation, Pathfinder Interfaith Harmony Initiative, and Kashmala Welfare Center. I was in Davos, and I'm a regular visitor there. Thank you, Ikram Sehgal Sahab. We had flown over people who were from small places, and through their initiatives, entrepreneurial initiatives, and the support Ikram Sehgal provided, were able to emerge as community leaders. One of them was a woman. And this is the kind of work he's already been doing. So I completely understand where this book is coming from, where this people-centric national security strategy is coming from. And with that, I will invite Brigadier Mujahid Alam Sahab, CEO. I'm very careful with names now. Please put your hands together.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. At certain moments in history, we are reminded that the true measure of a life is not found in wealth accumulated or titles earned, but in the quiet legacy of goodness we leave behind. Every once in a while, a leader emerges whose vision goes far beyond boardrooms and balance sheets. A leader whose heart beats for people, for dignity, and for humanity itself. Today, as we speak about the CSR journey of the Pathfinder Group, we are really recognizing the compassion and moral courage of one man, Ikram Sehgal, co-chairman of the Pathfinder Group. His vision has not only shaped organizations, it has touched lives, opened doors, and given hope where hope was fading. At Pathfinder Group, corporate social responsibility is not merely a public obligation. It is a core organizational philosophy that begins with our own people. Through its Enhanced Harmony Division, the group has established a workplace culture founded on dignity, fairness, opportunity, and mutual respect. Of all the initiatives and endeavors undertaken by Ikram Sehgal over the last many years and decades, these CSR initiatives of Pathfinder Group are one of the most important and gratifying because of their direct impact and benefits towards nation building. Enhanced Harmony Division brings together 4 transformative initiatives, each addressing a different aspect of societal well-being. The Elena Care Welfare Scheme is a comprehensive internal welfare scheme providing market-leading salaries and remunerations, comprehensive health coverage, and an exceptional welfare program. Some of the benefits are shown on the screen. I just want to point out that the health insurance provided is for all employees of Pathfinder, including their spouses and their children. Education scholarship program for children of junior staff at Jejia Cadet College is also indicated on the screen. More than 70 students have completed their studies and have gone on to colleges and universities. And more than 30 have graduated from colleges, universities, and entered the professional practical field. And at present, 42 students are presently studying at the college. They are fully funded by Pathfinder, and most of them are dependents, sons and daughters of the junior staff. A unique and exceptional welfare support is provided in the event of death of any employee of Pathfinder, unmatched by any other company or organization within Pakistan or any other country in the world. If a employee dies on duty, 300,000 is instantly given to the widow. This is in addition to Provident Fund and EOBI. Now, full salary is paid to the widow for 2 years, and half salary is paid until the eldest child becomes 18 years of age. And as soon as the eldest son becomes 18, he is guaranteed an employment, a job in the company. In case of natural death, again, full salary is paid for 6 months to the widow and half salary for 18 months, and the eldest son again is guaranteed a job when he turns 18. I don't know of any other organization in Pakistan or abroad that gives this kind of welfare and they look after. Providencia Books Foundation is nurturing minds and igniting curiosity and advancing literacy, educational access, and a culture of learning. Till now, we have collected more than 132,000 books, and we have distributed 108,000 books to underprivileged, deserving schools all over Pakistan. And we are active in 15 cities of Pakistan. We have signed more than 150,000 MOUs with various colleges, schools, universities, and NGOs. Pathfinder Interfaith Harmony Initiative is building bridges of understanding, tolerance, and peace, and promoting dialogue and peaceful coexistence among diverse faith communities. Pakistan's true strength lies in its diversity of faiths, cultures, and traditions, a diversity that must be protected through understanding and respect. Pathfinder Group has a proud legacy of more than 30 years of guarding, protecting 135 churches across Pakistan completely free of cost. We have also established an advisory council of highly distinguished leaders, activists from all faiths. We have from the Christian community, Hindu, Sikh, Parsi, Jewish, and of course, Muslim communities. Kashmala Welfare Center stands as a sanctuary of care for families facing hardship, offering them dignity, support, and the warmth of human kindness, and providing women, families, and local communities welfare, skills development, and empowerment services. 2 new welfare centers are coming up at Baqai and at Abbasi also. For over 22 years now, Pathfinder Group has been at the forefront of promoting Pakistan's presence at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, transforming what began as a private sector initiative into one of the country's most enduring and influential platforms for international engagement. At the heart of this endeavor has been the establishment and stewardship of the Pakistan Pavilion at Davos. Over the years, the pavilion has evolved into Pakistan's premier platform at the World Economic Forum, welcoming heads of states, ministers, global business leaders, investors, academics, development partners, and members of the international media. Equally distinguished has been the annual Pakistan Breakfast, which has become one of the signature events on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, bringing together influential decision makers from across the world. The breakfast has fostered meaningful dialogue on investment, trade, technological innovation, and the future of Pakistan's economy. The World Economic Forum marked a historic milestone when the group in 2026 this year, when Pathfinder Group sponsored the participation of 8 Pakistani technology startups, the first initiative of its kind ever at Davos. This landmark effort provided emerging Pakistani innovators with direct access to international investors, venture capital funds, technology companies, and global innovation networks. For more than 2 decades now, Pathfinder Group has carried Pakistan's story to Davos, and today it continues the same mission with the same conviction. An all-weather swimming pool complex at Lawrence College, funded entirely by Ikram Sehgal and the Pathfinder Group. It is a unique facility at an altitude of 6,000 feet, providing essential life skill, physical fitness, and mental well-being, leadership and character building, and community recreation and wellness. It is now fully functional, and inshallah tomorrow we are having the soft opening of the swimming pool at Lawrence College. In conclusion, I will just say that together all the above initiatives form a unified ecosystem of hope and opportunity, working to strengthen communities through education, harmony, and welfare. These initiatives are more than structures or programs. They represent a worldview, one that sees humanity as interconnected, where uplifting another is not an act of charity, but an act of justice, and where compassion becomes a form of wisdom. I thank you all. Thank you.
Once again, thank you for keeping time. Janab, it's my actually distinct pleasure to invite a man who introduced me to private education. I was very set in my comfort zone in a public sector university, and then we have a meeting and I become a part of a education group that is doing tremendous work in Pakistan. And it is only when I became associated with him I realized that it's not just a private entity. This group has transformed 200 government schools. This group introduced Chinese education in Pakistan. This group invests in the development and capacity building of teachers and has now become the third largest group in Pakistan. I'm a part of their small entity, a chartered university in Karachi, Sindh. I head that university. But the more I get to know them, the more I'm in awe of the man, because he just continues to do more. Age is on his side, and I wish there were more like him. Please put your hands together for Chaudhry, Faisal, Mushtaq.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Huma Baqai. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a distinct honor to share this stage and afternoon with the very distinguished Honorable former Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi Saab, the very Honorable national hero, legend, General Rahil Sharif sir. It's a great honor to see you back here in Islamabad. And Ikram Sehgal Saab, sir, thank you for the opportunity, and Zarar Sehgal, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to comment on the book, but I have been associated with the mentorship and with the leadership and with the passion and patriotism under the influence and legacy of Ikram Sehgal Saab. I've always said across the country, the 250 million Pakistanis, when they are born, they are not born as citizens. When people are born, they are born as aliens. Education, literacy, social contract, it transforms aliens into citizenry. So when you talk about national security, the single common denominator of any national security strategy is human security. And talking about human security, education, knowledge economy, literacy is fundamental to make our country amongst the global parity of national security states. And I'm truly inspired because not only Ikram Sehgal Saab, sir, you've been a great mentor. I would say that you are an inclusive practitioner of national security. You're empathetic, you're compassionate. As much strategic you are, or as much tactical and functional you may be in your approach through the institutions that you have built, but at the very heart of everything that you do, Ikram Sehgal Saab, it is about young people, it is about women and children, it is about youth, it is about the social contract. And 15 years ago, ever since that I've known you, you've always given me the opportunity, inspiration, inspired me to go to the World Economic Forum to be part of the famous Pakistan Pavilion. You helped me shape this Institute of Technology and Entrepreneurship in Karachi, where I met our very Honorable Vice Chancellor and Rector, Dr. Huma Baqai, on the board, supporting Providencia book, reaching out to the children and building a project and an empathy project in Pakistan that all the children of Roots Millennium schools, when all the used books that they have a box provided by the Providencia Foundation, by Brigadier Mujahid, and the students, they recycle those books for the purposes of out-of-school children and the children, those who have not benefited from that. Also, having said that, the world, life is all about three things. It is about the planet that you live, it is about the people that we all define this world, and it is about profit that we all make. But ladies and gentlemen, I always say, what good is a prophet if it does not profit the society? So inspirational leaders, legends like Ikram Sehgal Saab, his passion and his sense of purpose comes from national identity, patriotism, Pakistaniyat, and his approach in forging collaborations across all segments and across all stakeholders to build an inclusive national sentiment for national security. So I'm deeply obliged at a personal and a professional level that I've had an opportunity to be mentored and to be inspired by Ikram Sehgal Saab. And I can tell you that I have always had these breakfast meetings with him at his house in Karachi, and every time I've met him, trust me, every minute has been about how to make a difference the next day. I would also like to take this forum to recognize and appreciate, sir, your leadership, General Rahil, sir. We miss you here in Pakistan, and you have been an inspiration to me. I first met you when you were Commandant PMA, and you, since then, you have also inspired me for where I belong. And with your inspiration and leadership, I've been able to sponsor a university. And also, Shahid Khaqan, Abbasi Saab, sir, you have been a great support. And I think I'm very lucky with this triangulation of national leadership. And Dr. Baqai, you are rubbing shoulders with the best. So I'm sure, you know, we can open up. And I'm very privileged, Zara, to be associated with the Sehgal family. And trust me that everything Ikram Sehgal Saab does, at the very heart of it, is Pakistan. Thank you, sir.
आजकल जो सबसे मुश्किल बातें सोशल मीडिया पे कर रहे हैं ना, उनका नाम है शाहिद खाकान अब्बासी। मैं बार बार रिवाइंड करके सुनती हूँ कि क्या हो रहा है, क्यों कह रहे हैं, बट इट्स अ breath of fresh air. Khaqan Abbasi Saab is a former Prime Minister. He has graced Davos, the Pakistan breakfast twice. Once he came there as a Prime Minister. फिर हमें बहुत अच्छी सलाह दे के गए थे कि हाँ कहा था कि काम प्राइवेट सेक्टर को ही करने दें, गवर्नमेंट को इन्वॉल्व ना करें. But he's a man a lot of people are looking up to. He's seen as perhaps an alternative voice in Pakistan. Let's hear from him directly. Khaqan Abbasi Saab, floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm grateful to Dr. Huma Baqai for her kind words, but I think he's painted a big target on my back. So things are difficult in Pakistan. We all acknowledge that. Pakistan needs solutions. And I'm grateful to Ikram Sehgal Saab to allow us this opportunity to talk about his book and his thoughts about Pakistan and what we think the solution should be. Ikram Sehgal Saab sent me his book, but I did not read the book because I didn't have to. Since I was a very young boy, we used to hear of his name in our family gatherings. And several years back, he invited me to Davos, and he said that I'm not inviting you as a political office holder. I'm inviting you as the nephew of my commanding officer. So I'm here as the nephew of his commanding officer, not as somebody else. There are many stories that Ikram Sehgal Saab has written in his columns and books, but he left much of it out. So I would request him to write about those stories. The personal stories are important. We have here, most of you probably don't know him, Brigadier Mahmood, who was one of 3 people who are still with us from the first PMA. And the winner of the Sword of Honor in the first PMA was Aziz Bhatti Shahid. So we're very privileged to have him here. We're talking about national security. So these are the people who defined national security for Pakistan over the years with their hard work in building up a military that is second to none, and which has always delivered. We have the capacity to contain our enemies and to repay in kind. So that aspect of national security, I think, is resolved, in my opinion. General Raid Sahab may differ, but I believe that militarily, we really don't have a problem. We must maintain our capacity, but I don't see a real issue there. The issue really is in the larger aspect of governance and the political system and how we are dealing with it. It's an unfortunate fact that the military leadership of Pakistan, historically, and the political leadership do not understand each other. That's where the real problem comes up. And there's unfortunately no attempt to make an attempt at understanding each other. I have chaired the National Security Committee. We had very long meetings. We broke the tradition of not having NSC meetings. I tried to have a more collegial physical setup there also, but we could not agree on that. So it's very important that these two pillars of the Constitution, these two institutions understand each other. Because, as I said, militarily, I don't foresee a problem. The national security document, the policy document, I've never read it. I've not seen it. But it'll just remain a document unless we understand what national security is about. To me, national security is about the people of the country. If they are secure, if we are worried about their welfare, if the country is growing, if we are creating jobs, if our economy is growing, if we have institutions that work, if we have people who are optimistic about the country, then we have national security. If we don't, we have a real problem. And today, we have a real problem. But we somehow do not want to acknowledge it. Wherever I go, people ask questions. The young, the older people like myself, and every segment of society. And the question is, what will happen to us? What is our future? What will happen to the country? These are very critical questions. And this is national security. And they talk about solutions, but what is the solution? You go to a TV program, you go to academic setting, you go to talk to students, they say, ki hal kya hai? Solution kya hai? Hal kya hai? So there's no miraculous solution. There's no miracle that will happen that will fix Pakistan's ills. We have to, people ask me, and I always have this question, it's a very mundane solution. It appears very ordinary, and that is rule of law. If you do not have rule of law, Pakistan will not prosper. It's as simple as that. As General Ali Kuli and General Raid Sharif, they all know, all complex problems generally have simple solutions. It's just the question of finding that solution and implementing it. I never met General Raid Sharif, only a few times in formal occasions, but he inherited a huge issue, huge security issue. And it's not widely acknowledged or widely known even, the job that he did for Pakistan. It's not an ordinary job. I had no intention of saying that here, but since the debate gravitated towards that, and if I'm not wrong, under his command, we lost more young people, we have more Shaheeds than in any other war in Pakistan. And we won that war. We won that war against the same people that the whole world could not defeat in Afghanistan. It's a very brutal war. a very difficult war, and General Saab's leadership withstood that challenge and we came out on top. But we did lose a lot of people, a lot of Shaheeds. And Marshal Saab raised this issue about General Maulana Fazlur Rahman. I worked with him for 30 years. I found him to be a very rational man. But these statements I did not understand. And I have written to him, and I hope he will explain what he meant by his comments. These are comments which are not acceptable. We all have relatives in the military. We all have Shaheeds in the military. And I don't know of a single person who joins the military for the salary. It's about a commitment. It's about a passion. So I hope that Maulana Sahib will be able to explain his comments. So that's the solution for Pakistan is simple, but it appears very difficult. And both the military and the civilian people have to play a role in it. Without rule of law, Pakistan will not move forward. The economy will not grow. The young people will not have jobs. They'll be leaving the country. So this is something that we all need to understand. Somehow we do not understand that. Every institution that Pakistan has today is failing or has failed. And we still make no attempt at reform. You look at the budget speech, there's no attempt at reform there. There's no talk of reform. If you do not reform, you'll never get out of the IMF program. Because the IMF program injects discipline into the system. It's something we can do ourselves, but we're unable to do it. So they force the discipline upon you because they're answerable to for their own money that they give you, and also to other lenders who rely on them to provide supervision of what we're doing. So it takes discipline. It takes a lot of hard work. It'll take a lot of pain before Pakistan turns the corner. This is something that all of us as Pakistanis need to understand. There's no two Pakistans here. There's a citizen wearing the uniform, and there's a citizen not wearing the uniform. It's a responsibility that belongs to all of us. It's not the militaries alone, it's not the politicians alone. And that relationship is defined by the Constitution. So, while we read the 16 books that Ikram Sehgal Sahab has written, and unfortunately for him, he is a prolific writer, but we are not prolific readers. So we have a real problem here. So, but there's another book that we must read. It's called the Constitution. And that's one failing all of Ikram Sehgal Sahab's writings have. Rarely mentions the Constitution. He mentions it peripherally, on the sidelines. That is the Constitution. But that's the document that defines everything in Pakistan. If you do not follow it, you will not have a system. So it's very, very critical that we understand that. Today, you read, all of us must read we have a very explicit constitution, a very good constitution, except the parts that we keep amending. You take the amendments out, it's a pretty good constitution. There is the first part is the introduction, what Pakistan stands for. The second part, the part 2, chapter 1, is fundamental rights. 21 articles, 8 to 28. We have none of them today. The people of this country do not have the rights, the fundamental rights that the Constitution provides to us. That is why we have a problem in Pakistan. That is why we have a serious situation in Balochistan. That is why we have a serious situation in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That is why the serious situation in Azad Kashmir. We may not acknowledge the seriousness, but it's there. It will simmer. So we must read the Constitution, we must abide by the Constitution. No country can work without it. If you don't like it, change it for the better. But we cannot go on like this, really. I today worry about my country. We're all worried. Wherever you go, people are worried. The young people especially. And they are 2/3 of Pakistan. So what answer do we give them? So it's the leadership's job, military and political, to provide those answers to them. You must create that dialogue. We must iron over our differences. We were all on the same page. There's no 2 pages here. And it's the page of the Constitution. So that's my little contribution here. And I'm grateful again to all the people who came to attend. I'm grateful to Ikram Sehgal Sahab. May Allah give you hopefully 80 more years. The institutions you built, the contributions you made, mostly are not known at all. And that's the way it should be. And that's who you are. So thank you very much, and thank you all.
मैंने आपसे कहा था ना खाकान अब्बासी साहब आजकल मुश्किल बातें करें. आपकी रूल ऑफ लॉ की बात अच्छी लगती है, लेकिन मुझे तो लगता है कि ग्लोबल रूल ऑफ लॉ ही रबल में दबा हुआ है गजा के. So we are living in a world which does not have rule of law. We don't have humanitarian law. We do not have United Nations. We are settling our issues bilaterally. So yes, that's the chaotic world we live in, but I hope things for Pakistan will get better. अब मुझे बुलाना है जनरल रिटायर्ड राहिल शरीफ साहब को. वो हमारे चीफ गेस्ट भी हैं और उनको इंट्रोड्यूस कराना बिल्कुल ऐसा है जैसे आप चिराग दिखाएं सूरज को. कोशिश करूंगी मैं. Right now he is the military commander of the Islamic Military Counter-Terrorism Coalition of 43 nations. But more proudly speaking, he's our former chief of the आर्मी स्टाफ ऑफ पाकिस्तान. लेकिन उससे भी एक अहम बात यह है कि जब वो चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ थे और जिसका जिक्र अभी खकान अब्बासी साहब ने भी किया, he led the landmark operation ज़र्ब-ए-अज़ब, introduced the new concept of war fighting and training. And yes, Khaqan Abbasi Sahab is right, Dr. Faisal Mushtaq is right, we miss you here in Pakistan. He has, of course, been honored with Pakistan's Nishan-e-Imtiyaz, along with prestigious military awards from Saudi Arabia, the United States, Turkey, Jordan, and Brazil. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our chief guest, General Rahil Sharif.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Ikram Sehgal, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here today. Ikram Bhai, on behalf of my family, I would like to sincerely thank you for dedicating this remarkable book to us. Your narration of the events surrounding my family's gallantry actions, achievements, sacrifices for our motherland is both thoughtful and deeply moving. It is a tribute that humbles us, and we are truly grateful for this honor. Ladies and gentlemen, national security is a complex subject, particularly in the context of Pakistan. For us, it has always been about sovereignty, sacrifice, and survival. During my tenure, we found that a whole-of-nation approach backed by the government proved instrumental in neutralizing multiple threats and turning the tide of terrorism. I had the privilege of commanding brave men and serving alongside an exceptional team, and above all, Almighty Allah was immensely kind to us. Based on that experience, I can say with confidence that Mr. Sehgal's book addresses the modern paradigm of national security in an insightful and commendable manner. He rightly argues that security can no longer be viewed solely through the lens of territorial defense. Today, it also encompasses economic resilience, cyber security, institutional strength, and national cohesion. What distinguishes this book is its practical perspective. It combines thoughtful analysis with battle-tested experience and offers meaningful recommendations for addressing the hybrid threats of our time. I have no doubt that it will become an important reference for the students of national security. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I would now like to share a few personal reflections. My association with Ikram Bhai goes back to my school days. In fact, I have brought a photograph that captures my earliest memories of him. I vividly remember his Council 315, his smart appearance, and his warm, approachable personality. I had the privilege of accompanying him and my brothers on many drives through Gulberg, Mall Road, and the Services Club. As young boys, we looked up to personalities such as Shabir Sharif, Nader Parvez, Ikram Sehgal, Farooq Nawaz Janjua, and many others. They inspired us not only through their military service, but also through their achievements in sports, education, and social events. I consider myself truly fortunate to have grown up in the company of such remarkable individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly reflect on Ikram Bhai's extraordinary achievements. He was a distinguished aviator who flew some of the most challenging missions in Pakistan's northern areas and earned recognition as one of the finest pilots of his generation. His services during the surveying of Karakoram Highway were especially appreciated by our Chinese friends. His memoir, Escape from Oblivion, is a compelling account of courage, resilience, and determination, recounting his remarkable escape from Indian captivity. It is truly a book worth reading. His services in the army, particularly with his own battalion, are well recognized. Few army officers receive the rare honor of having an infantry company named after them. Sehgal Company remains a lasting tribute that will continue to inspire generations in the Sarmast Battalion of the Sindh Regiment. Beyond his military career, Ikram Bhai has made invaluable contributions as a defense analyst. Through both print and electronic media, his thoughtful analysis has earned him widespread respect not only in Pakistan but internationally as well. His views carry credibility and have consistently enriched the national discourse. Another remarkable chapter of his life has been his long-standing association with the World Economic Forum at Davos. Since 1992, he has represented Pakistan with distinction and has hosted the now well-known Pakistan Breakfast, bringing together presidents, prime ministers, business leaders, and distinguished international personalities. His unwavering commitment reflects both his patriotism and his enduring love for Pakistan. In 2017, following the completion of one of our most significant counter-terrorism operations, Zarb-e-Azam, Ikram Bhai enabled me to address and participate in various forums at Davos to share Pakistan's monumental success. Wherever I went, people spoke of him with admiration and respect. Ikram Bhai, you have indeed made us proud. Ladies and gentlemen, his success as a businessman is well known. What many people may not know is that he built it all through sheer hard work, dedication, and perseverance. He is a visionary, focused, decisive, and disciplined. Yet perhaps his greatest quality is his character and compassion. He is a true gentleman who genuinely cares for those around him. He personally looks after his colleagues and takes a sincere interest in the welfare of those who work with him. It is this humility and love that has earned him such deep respect and affection. Tomorrow is Ikram Bhai's 80th birthday. Happy birthday, Bhai. May you have many more returns of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, no tribute to Ikram Bhai would be complete without acknowledging Mrs. Ikram Sehgal. Throughout this remarkable journey, she has been a constant source of strength, wisdom, and unwavering support. She is a lady of exceptional grace, dignity, and kindness. Their son, Zarar, is a refined and promising young man who is steadily carrying forward his father's legacy. I am confident that he will continue to uphold the distinguished traditions and values of his family. Ikram Bhai, my prayers and best wishes will always remain with you and your family. Once again, thank you for this great honor that you have given to the Sharif family. Ladies and gentlemen, may God Almighty bless you all with continued success and help you in your endeavors. Thank you. Pakistan Zindabad.
Before I invite the author himself, we have Bishop Nadeem Kamran. He's sitting here and he'd like to present something to Ikram Sehgal Sahab.
On the behalf of the church, I presented token of appreciation because he provided many years security to the churches. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you for all your efforts.
Once again, we are thankful on behalf of the entire Christian community to Mr. Ikram Sehgal, his team, and I think there have been 3 decades that wherever the Christian community needed support, free guards at any point, any church were there, and he used to 24/7 make sure that we get that. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
राइट जी, आई एम गोइंग टू इनवाइट इकराम सहगल साहब. मुझे नहीं पता उनके बारे में और क्या बताऊं, और बहुत उम्दा, बहुत कुछ अच्छा जनरल राहिल शरीफ ने भी बता दिया. ही इज ऑफ कोर्स द चेयरमैन ऑफ Pathfinder Group, and there's just one sentence I say about it, and I know Pathfinders are sitting there. Once a Pathfinder, always a Pathfinder. And just one more thing, there's something he's worked on, few people know about, and that is on financial inclusion, and for which he was recognized by the World Economic Forum Edison Alliance for advancing digital financial inclusion. Small initiative done very quietly, changing the banking landscape of Pakistan, especially women. Please put your hands together for the man, Ikram Sehgal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, General Sharif. And what can I say? But my commanding officer, Brigadier Mahmood, all 96 years of age. I'm humbled that you are here, sir. And along with them, lucky to have one of my best friends, Lieutenant General Ali Kuli Khan Khattak, and my sister, Nilofer. And I will later on say something which may not be that palatable to many, but I will also acknowledge General Shakil, whose father was my commanding officer, served with us. I'd like to concentrate, one young man from Rose TV, please stand, his grandfather, one of the bravest people that ever served under Major General Hidayatullah Khan Niazi. And like that, many others in this audience who I've served with have been lucky to have these things. I want to thank all of you. I can individually, I don't want to do it because it takes too much time. But one is very lucky to have such people present at such occasions. I will start with my father, and I will start with the fact that he would have been alive 105 years old today. And especially, I'm thankful to you for allowing me to dedicate this book on this day. People have alluded to the fact that my father was from Sialkot, the Punjabi. My mother was from Bogra, she was a Bengali. It was not very comfortable in 1971 to be a Punjabi in then East Pakistan or to be a Bengali in then West Pakistan. But the fact of the matter remains that my sister, younger than by 3 years, dead when only 28 years ago and buried in now Bangladesh. We always thought ourselves lucky to be Pakistanis because we thought ourselves as one whole. And we always carried ourselves that way. But I want to speak about something that I faced when I escaped from India and reached back Pakistan. And on the way I was told that don't go back to Pakistan. You will be shot. And I didn't believe it. Why? I'm a Pakistani. Why should I be shot? But I found out when I landed in Dhaka that the world had changed. My Pakistan was no more there. It was just a question of time before East Pakistan became Bangladesh, but it was very clear. So they sent my father to me because I was saying the wrong things. Because when I was asked this question, I said no. What's going on in here is absolutely wrong. I would not like my mother's people being killed the way they're being killed here. So my father was sent to me all the way. And he said, my nickname is Chan Chan, what are you doing? You're a hero. You're the first man, Pakistani prisoner, to ever escape from India. And what are you saying? And I told him, I took him, and I felt very bad what I told him. I took him outside because I knew he was being bugged. I said, Daddy, there's a difference between you and me. He said, there's no difference. You look like me, you're a Punjabi. There's no daddy. Your mother was Punjabi. My mother is Bengali. So I suffered. But I was very lucky in one way. I was cleared to an extent. And I came back. And then the first time I felt humiliation in the aviation mess that I had built. I was refused food. How I came to know was when a tray full of food was sent by my sister to me in my room. I've never forgotten that little. And that mess, I've never been to that mess ever again, you know, because, and that people like that, you know, dissent, you know, the thing, etc. And I was asked to serve in aviation. I said, I'll never serve in aviation again. But then I decided, I said, what is this Pakistan? And I was sent to the man who was supposed to be one of the bravest men in the army, to his battalion called 44 Punjab, now 4 Sindh. And 27th November, I reported there. The first thing he told me, I don't like Bengalis. And I will never promote you. And after the war, if you're alive, you'll go back as a captain. For whatever reason, on 13 December 1971, 16 days later, he took off his rank of major, put it on his shoulders, gave me battlefield promotion. More, the thing, he renamed my company as Sehgal Company. Today, I have the proud privilege that the CEO of the company is here, of that battalion is here, Fort Sindh, along with his other officers, and they named a wall after me called the Pride of the Sarmast Battalion. Thank you. I had decided, even after the war, I'm not staying this, because this is not my Pakistan. But just when I came home, and my father told me, you have vindicated me. The people who used to go and call me, and still call me, Gaddar, your son is a Gaddar. And my mother was isolated, and I'll go on to that. And that is why I said, for 2 reasons, I stayed in Pakistan. One was my father. I said, Meri baap ki zameen hai, main idhar hi rahunga. And I was vindicated. And the other was Fort Sindh. The love I got from Fort Sindh in 2 years was beyond imagination. That was 1974. 26 years, 52 years later, a wall is dedicated to me, Pride of the Sarmast Battalion. I am vindicated because this is our Pakistan, what you talked about. This is our Pakistan, what Rahim talked about. And now I'd like to talk about the Sharif family. When there was nobody to go to my mother, his mother, to live very close by, to go and say, Banu, tu parwai na kar. Because she used to speak Punjabi most of the time. Tu parwai na kar. Main thya. So that. And then when Shabir, actually Rahil's elder Mumtaz was my roommate in PMA. And Shabir had just graduated, getting the Sword of Honor Battalion SU. And he came back a hero because Lieutenant Battalion SU came back. And the first thing, they said we were in first term, and all was very worried because every day somebody used to be going out of PMA because they couldn't stand. You see, you start with about 40 people and about 8-10 people are weeded out by the first term. And we were very worried, I'm next. And I'd gone, Shabir took us to the cafe and I went and I came back. First time I remember Shabir, she showed me, he said, Sehgal, you can get the Sword of Honor. I said, this man must be mad. I'm trying to stay in PMA, he wants me to get a Sword of Honor. You know, he was Mumtaz, and let me tell you about Mumtaz. 9-mile run, he was ahead of us, he was coming first. The entire town was running, big pack, rifle. We had stopped at the famous Ilyasi Masjid for a drink of water, and that thing, I stumbled, sprained my ankle. Ahsan, who was with me, picked me up, shouted, Mumtaz, Sehgal has fallen. Mumtaz came back. He gave up his first place to help Ahsan carry me across the line. That is what the Sharif family is. And then, of course, I can keep on talking, but I'd like to talk about Shabbir Sharif. I never could understand till much later why Shabbir befriended me. Shabbir had this macho attitude. He's a tough man, motorcycle, this, that, and the other, and he wanted the world to know that. And he used to hide his intellect. And the other day I was discussing with General Shakil that the most complex battle of its time was Austerlitz. It's very difficult to understand Austerlitz. Shabbir was an authority on Austerlitz. Authority on Austerlitz. This was to hide it. I said, so why do you do it? Then 10 days, when I reached back from East Pakistan and I was there, he came from the Fazilka sector, he and mother came, his mother was talking to my mother, and he said, Sehgal do kaam kari. Okay? Yaar, main agar shaheed ho jaan jo hoonga, I'm going to get this thing, I'm going to get the Nishan-e-Haidar this time. Right? But please make sure I get buried next to my friend who committed suicide in Miyamir graveyard so that he can go to heaven, the Shahid with the Shahid. And I don't want to get buried because I need to get buried instead of the Sharif family graveyard in Punjab, in Punjab, in Gujarat. And so he was buried there. And second thing is that, yaar, थोड़ा ख्याल रखी ये छोटे भाई थे रहील ये टफ है अनरूली है थोड़ा हाँ ये करेगा ठीक ठाक थोड़ा सा ख्याल रखिए. Of course I never really got to mentor him, but of course we did. But I'm so proud of you, right, and always been, because you represent the best of the Pakistan Army, like the Sharif family represents the best of the Pakistan Army. What can I say without talking about so many people here? Lieutenant General Naseem Rana is here. Thank you, sir, for coming. Right? They are postmates, by the way. General Ali Kuli, Naseem Rana, and General Khalid. And I've been very lucky. Favorite of many chiefs of army staff. General Aslam Beg, General Asif Nawaz Janjua, General Musharraf. He was the head of the Pathfinder team. I was his pilot. That's where I got the name Pathfinder. So I'm very lucky all along in Raheel. And I'm very proud when Raheel became the Chief Army Staff, but I never once went to him. Because I said if I once go to him, they'll say he got this plot of land, he got this contract, he got that. In the social media, I won't be able to fight it. So I have to give it up. So I only went to him when he was leaving the army house. The first man he rang up was myself. He said, "Bhai, मैं गेट से बाहर हूँ, हम तो आएंगे, उसे आओगे कि नहीं?" I flew next day to Lahore, and of course he talked about Davos, and he was a hit. They rate people in Davos among themselves. People rate speakers, and the 100 speakers they rate, and they rated him the best speaker there. You know, it was very upsetting. I was worried. So I think before I go on to my family, I'd like to talk about my staff. What wonderful human beings. What great staff. What loyal people. People have been with me for decades. The children have been with me for decades. Bilal Kamar is here. His father was with me, Captain Kamar. He is now there. There are other people. And they work in a way that the World Economic Forum recognized them many people told me there that we've seen people, and Salman and these people, Samad and all, they were actually putting, tables and chairs and this and that. They said, we've never seen any executive do this. He said, we do this because we are Pathfinder, because we are Pakistanis. So I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to God. I honor my father and I honor Salma's battalion. But then I ask in the end to my own family to first of all, like Sharif has rightly paid tribute to Shanaz. Very few wives take the lot of nonsense that she does from me. But she does, and thank you for that, and for being with me. I do remember going home after being dismissed from service without having a penny on me and having no means to go. And my canteen contractor, he gave me 600 rupees. So I told him I will never be able to return it. He said, sir, aap kamaoge aur aap वापस दोगे. I brought him today all the way from Nashira. Hayat Khan, khade ho. उस 600 रुपए की वजह से मैंने अपने बच्चे को, बेटे को पहली दफ़ा देखा 27 दिन बाद. उस दिन मेरे पास दूध के पैसे नहीं थे इसके लिए. मैं अल्लाह ताला मेहरबान है. आप बिलीव करें, आप जैसे लोग हैं और बहुत लोग हैं सिटिंग इन द ऑडियंस. I'd like to name them, each one of them, but I'd like to mention the thing. And then, of course, I'd like to mention my son. And one is always grateful to God to have such sons. Certainly, like I tell his children, far better educated than me, far more brilliant than me, far better human being than me. But, thank you, Zarar, for being what you are. And then, of course, Kashmala, whom I always have a quarrel with every day, or every second day. But the love never goes away. Acknowledge that. And, of course, my daughter, who's here, Nefa, always been with me, always been with me. I think among us, the most brilliant of them, unfortunately, she's never had the occasion to exercise that brilliance. And then I go on to my granddaughters. Amani, whom you've heard about, her idea came back, a 12-year-old. She went to this TCF school, which Zarar was as president of TCF USA, used to fund those schools here, and went here and said, Dada, these poor people don't have books. So I said, what are you going to do about them? So that's how Provincia came about. Provincia now, you heard about Brig Mujahid, say it all. What a great thing. And then, of course, Alena. And Alena, 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago, went and made a project called the Agape Project in New York, which was interfaith. She got hold of a Jewish girl, a Christian girl, Muslim girl, and they started making, in her house, they started making sandwiches and small snacks for older people. And now that has grown to about a lot of girls getting together, and Agape Project, and I believe now it's being funded by New York also, the city. And then that was the basis of the Interfaith Harmony Initiative, because I wanted to leave this legacy for them, and that thing. And so, and then of course, my grandson, who has now tremendous athlete, budding, I think both in football and basketball, but now coming into his own, working with his sisters into the welfare projects. So what more can any grandfather want than for his son and grandchildren to leave that legacy that he's dreamed about. I never dreamed about where I would be today. I could not even think about it. It's beyond my imagination. But that imagination was done by people like loyal people who stood by me through thick and thin, like when Lashik is here, the deputy chairman, and Mujahid is here, and General Shakil is here, and of course the tremendous group that joined me, the Citadel Pathfinder Group, and then of course people like Jahangir and Salman. People have alluded to this thing. We said, let's change the destiny of the people, let's do it quietly. So we said, why quietly? I said, before we hit 4 million accounts, if they find out, they'll close us down. So today we are at 14 million accounts. And 38%, the normal average is 18%, we have 38% women in that account. Unless you bring women into the body economic of Pakistan, Pakistan is going nowhere. You have to bring them. It's a compulsion. So I thank you, my colleagues. I would like to mention everybody by name, but I would be amiss, because a lot of them are sitting at the back there, and the Pathfinder Group. And some of my relations also from, come all the way from Gujranwala and from Lahore and Sialkot. And I'm grateful that you're all here. So please, if I missed out anybody, please forgive me. But most of all, again, let me thank General Sharif, Khaqan, Abbasi, and Huma. What can one say? You're almost a Sehgal. Yeah. But, you know, and again, I go back again to you, Mahmood, sir. Sir, you were upright throughout your life. And you have set, let us say, a pedestal very difficult for other people to follow. But we look up to you, like we've always looked up to you. And we will keep on looking up to people like you, all 96 years of you. He proudly yesterday told me, I've got 16 years on you. Right. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you for being here. So, I go back to my poor father, the man who was a brilliant person, brilliant beyond words, and really everything. And he had to suffer, his son being called a Gaddar, right? But he lived long enough to see that pass. And he was, I would have been, today I specially chose this day, because he would have been 105 years old today to be here. The other thing I chose this day is, on 16 July, I escaped from the prisoner of war camp. On 17 July, I broke into the American Consulate General. And 18 July, the Americans didn't know what to do with me. So part of them said, throw him out. Part of them said, no, we can't do it. But the US Marines had other thoughts. They said, the code of honor says, if you're a prisoner, you escape, sir, you're a soldier. So if these so-and-sos don't help you, we'll take you out from here. Don't worry. So thank you, everybody who has helped me on this way. And again, thank all of you for being here today. And what more can I say but a heartfelt gratitude to all of you. Thank you.